Hello everyone, welcome to this week's homework video, our first homework video. And we are going to be talking about two things today. We're going to be talking about word classes and we're going to be talking about division, or the bus stop method, okay? So we have also spoken about verbal reasoning within the lesson, but we're not going to focus on that during this video. This is our first week. I'm trying to make it nice and laid back for us, okay, as fun as possible. But we should expect that things might get a bit more challenging, or things will get a bit more challenging as the weeks progress. But for now, you're doing amazingly. And let's keep it just to two things in this video. But like I said, in future videos, we'll be looking at 4 areas of learning, but you're going to be so prepared for it. So don't even worry about that, okay? So before we get into the learning, I just want to talk about a couple of things that we've been through this week, away from the actual lesson stuff, the learning stuff. And one of the main things that I want to talk about is our presentation. So remember, we have that competition, which is going to conclude in the first week of October. And the competition is won by the person who has the best presentation, the best handwriting, the best, not just handwriting, but also just making sure your book looks presentable in other ways. So no smudging and no rubbing out. Remember, we don't rub out. We're going to put a cross for anything we don't want to write. Making sure our finger spaces are great. So presentation isn't just handwriting, it's everything, okay? So the winner of that will receive a really nice prize, but that will happen quite regularly. Our presentation will be assessed quite regularly, okay? So if you don't manage to win on the first attempt, don't worry, there'll be other attempts, okay? That's one thing I wanted to talk about. The other thing I wanted to talk about besides learning is this video, the homework videos. So the homework videos will eventually move onto the website, but for now they're going to be on YouTube, and they happen once a week. And within the lessons, within this video, you're going to see that the work, like within the lesson as well, is split into 3 tiers. We've got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and I'll remind you later on in this video. But tier 3, year 5s, I need you all to have a go at that. If you can't complete tier 3, go to tier 2, okay? But you must at least attempt tier 3. Year 4s, you can choose between tiers 1 and tiers 2. I'd like you to attempt tier 2, right? Sounds a bit confusing, but it won't be for long, I promise. So year 4s, I'd like you to attempt tier 2. If tier 2 becomes too difficult, go to tier 1, okay? But year 4s, if you're feeling up for it, do tier 3, all right? That'd be amazing, okay? However, one thing I do require from all year 5s is to at least attempt tier 3, and all year 4s should at least attempt tier 2. Sounds a bit confusing. It won't be for long, and I'm going to remind you later on in this video, okay? So let's start off by talking about word classes. Now, we spoke about these. These are very important things. Sometimes they're known as word families, but usually they're called word classes. And word classes, as we've spoken about, are special categories for every single word. Every single word in the English language can be split, can be separated into its own category. And those categories are on the screen in white. Now we've got nouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, determiners, prepositions, conjunctions. There are other word classes, okay? But they are word classes that branch off from these word classes. So let's, for now, just focus on these 7 word classes. If you know these 7 word classes and you can master them, honestly, it's all you're going to need, okay? So we've got nouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, determiners, prepositions, and conjunctions. Now, this isn't part of our homework. This is an activity I'd like you to do within this video, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the description in red, the definition in red, and I want you to say which word class it's describing, okay, before I tell you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a link from each definition to its correct word class. But before I complete that link, can you say aloud which word class I'm talking about? So the first one says describes a noun. Which word class am I talking about? So see if you can say it aloud before I link it. Adjective. Adjectives describe nouns, yeah? Now, all I'm going to do for this part of the video is just tell you the definition, link it to its correct word, and then we're going to move on. Okay, there is a lot more to talk about. There's a lot more to say about word classes, but for now, let's just learn the definitions. Adjectives describe nouns. Okay, all right. Next one tells us where one noun is in relation to another noun. So, can you let me know? What do you think it is? Before I link it, it is a preposition. A preposition tells us where one noun is in relation to another noun. Prepositions so this definition might be a bit vague. Okay, there might be a little bit more to it, but for now, it's all I want you to remember. Okay, and we will not go wrong. A preposition tells us where one noun is in relation to another noun. The cup is next to the bowl. Next to is a preposition. Cup and bowl are the nouns. The cup is next to the bowl. Okay. The light bulb is a noun, is above my head. Above is a preposition. My head, the light bulb, they're nouns. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. We've got an action word. Can you say it aloud before I do the link? An action word. Which word class is an action word? The answer is a verb. A verb is an action word. Okay. Any action is a verb. Running, jumping, dancing, typing, writing, singing. All right. All of these are verbs. Any action is a verb. A lot of them end with ing, as you've just had, but there are so many that don't. So don't rely on that as a rule. Okay. I know at school you're told often that verbs end with ing, but there are many that don't, and you've got to keep that in your mind. Okay. But like I said, we're going to go in depth with all of these word classes. Okay. We just want to learn the very basic definition today. Okay. The next description or definition is joins two clauses together. So say it aloud. Which one of these joins two clauses together? And remember, a clause just means an idea. Joins two ideas together. Which one is it? It's a conjunction. A conjunction joins two ideas, two clauses together. Okay. We're not going to talk any more about that. Just remember the definition for now. All right, the next one tells us how many nouns we have. Which one of these word classes tells us how many nouns we have? Say it aloud before I make the link. The answer is a determiner. A determiner tells us how many nouns we have. Determiners do a lot of things, not just that. But like I keep saying, let's remember this basic definition before we go any further into exploring these word classes. Okay, so determiner gives us an idea or tells us exactly how many nouns we have. So this cup here is a noun. It's a thing, right? I might have just given the next question away. Anyway, this cup here is a noun. We've got one cup. So one tells us how many cups we've got. Yeah, it's a determiner. Now I've got two cups. Two is a determiner. Okay, but also I have a couple of cups. So that word couple becomes a determiner. Here I've got many cups or some cups. Here I've got many cups. Yeah, many, some, a few, couple, individual numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it gives us an idea or tells us how many nouns we've got, we're using a determiner. Okay, but like I said, there are many other types of determiner, but we will go into those. For now, just remember this. All right, so I just gave this one away, but I think you all knew this one already anyway. A thing, place, or person. Which one of these word classes am I defining here? Thing, place, person. Is it an adverb or is it a noun? The answer is noun. All right, a noun. A thing, a place, a person. Anything you can see is a noun. Anything you can see. Fan, books, chair, ceiling, wall. Anything around you that you can see is a noun. Okay, but also we have nouns that we can't see, and such as air. We can't really see air, can we? But it's still a noun because it's a thing. But also, what about places? We've got London, England, the Earth, the United Kingdom, Europe, the USA, China. Yeah, all of these are places, so these are also nouns. Okay, and then finally, describes a verb. We've only got one left, so we know the answer is adverb. An adverb describes a verb. That's quite easy to remember. Adverb describes a verb, yeah? But like I said, I really don't want us to go too much into it right now. It's our first week. We've got 7 word classes to master. So it's going to do us no good by sort of giving ourselves too much information to learn. All right, let's do it very slowly and we'll get there. We'll be the masters of word classes in no time. Okay, I promise. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to show you now. Here they are. They're all now matched properly. So I don't know if you maybe want to pause it and have a read, maybe you want to write it down, maybe you want to take a screenshot, do whatever you need to do with this information. You might not want to do anything because you might already confidently know all of the definitions, which will be great. But what we're going to do now is on the bottom, I've got a sentence, right? And it says, many crispy leaves fell elegantly and landed beside the tall tree. So this is a sentence, and within the sentence, we have, what we need to do is put each word into its word class. Okay, so let's start with the first one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to circle each word, and then you've got about 5 to 10 seconds to tell me its word class. Okay, so I've just circled many. Say aloud, what is the word class of many? Okay, the answer is a determiner. It's a determiner. Many crispy leaves. It's telling us how many. Okay, it's not telling us how many exactly, but it's giving us a good idea, isn't it? It doesn't say 1 or 2 or 3 crispy leaves, but it says many, so we can have this image in our head of lots of. Lots of is another determiner. Okay. All right. Then we have crispy. Say it aloud. Which word class is crispy? The answer is an adjective. Why is it an adjective? Well, it's describing leaves. Crispy is describing, and I'm about to give the next one away. What is leaves? What word class does leaves belong to? Leaves is a thing, which means it's a noun. Okay, so leaves is a noun. Crispy is describing a noun. And we know that adjectives describes nouns. Yeah, look, adjectives describes a noun. So crispy is describing a noun. Crispy must be an adjective. We know leaves are nouns because they are things. Okay. Many crispy leaves fell. Okay, we've got the word fell. What is fell? Have a look through the list. What do you reckon the word class is? It is a verb. It's an action word. It's doing something. It's falling. That's an action. It's falling. Okay. Then we've got elegantly. This is probably the word that tripped a lot of people up because we've looked at a similar sentence to this one in our lesson, didn't we? And this, not so much the vocabulary, but the word class of this word tripped a few of us up. So elegantly, think about it. What word class would it belong to and why? It is an adverb. The reason it's an adverb is because it's describing the way the verb happens. Yeah, it's describing the verb. The verb is fell. It's describing how the leaves fell. The leaves fell elegantly. Yeah, they fell elegantly. They fell quickly. They fell slowly. So if we describe the verb, we're using an adverb. And remember, adverbs do slightly more than just describe verbs. But for now, we're just going to remember that definition. But keep in your head, guys, that there's more depth to word classes. There's more to learn. But for now, let's just learn what is on the screen, okay? All right, then we have the word and. What's the word class? It is a conjunction. And it's a conjunction. It's connecting two ideas. It's connecting two clauses. Think about it, right? We've got two things going on here. We've got two ideas. The first idea is that we have leaves falling. And the second idea is that we have them landing beside the tree. The leaves are falling and then they're landing beside the tree. Two things are going on and they're being connected with the word and. Many leaves are falling and landing beside the tree. So the falling and the landing are two different clauses, two different ideas, and they're being connected with the word and. Okay, conjunctions are a massive thing when it comes to word classes. They're probably going to be the word classes that take up most of our time. But once we master conjunctions, it will transform our writing, I promise. Okay. And then the next word we've got landed. What word is landed? What word class? What do we think? Think about what it's doing in the sentence. Many crispy leaves fell elegantly and landed. What is the word landed? Of course, it is a verb. It's an action word. It's landing. It's doing something. It's landing. Like the plane lands. The plane is doing something. Yeah. So the leaves fell and they landed. Two actions. Okay. Next word is beside. Slightly trickier one. What do you think? What do you think about beside? Which word class might beside belong to? Okay, the answer is a preposition. It tells us the location of a noun in relation to another noun. So we've got the tree beside the leaf. What am I talking about? The leaves, sorry, beside the trees. Leaves, one noun. Tree, another noun. The leaves are beside the tree. Okay. Look at what I like to do when I think of prepositions is I like to find two objects, two nouns within the room that I'm in. So for example, I can see in this room there is a bookcase or a bookshelf, and beside the bookshelf there is a table. And naturally, I've used the word beside because I've got two nouns and I've described where they are in relation to each other. The shelf is next to the table. The chair is underneath the table. The pencil is on top of the table. Yeah. So what I like to do and what you should do is look around the room that you're in and think about two nouns and where they are in relation to each other. And that word that you naturally use would be the preposition. All right. Now we've got the tool tree. Which word class is the? It is a determiner. The tool tree. It does tell us how many nouns we have. We have one, the tree. If I said some trees, we'd have more than one. Okay, so believe it or not, tells us how many we have. And then we've got tool. Well, which word class is tool? Of course, the answer is adjective. It's describing the tree. The tree is a noun. The tree is a thing. Tool is describing the noun. So tool must be an adjective. And finally, we've got tree. Tree is a thing. Tree is a noun. All right. So this sentence uses all of the word classes. And that's what we want to be doing. Now, when we do creative writing, we don't want to put every single word class into every single sentence because that's too much. Okay. That's way too much. But we do want to use a good variety of word classes throughout our entire writing. In other words, if we're writing a short story, we want to make sure that we've included every single word class, not necessarily all in one sentence, but we want to make sure that we've considered every word class and used it where we think it's appropriate. Okay. And that's what we're going to be doing a lot of. And believe me, it gets easier and easier. I promise. It seems tricky at first. And at first, it feels really contrived. It feels really sort of like we're trying our best to deliberately write a sentence just to use word classes, which can feel a bit awkward. And it will feel a bit awkward when we're practicing. But I promise, as the lessons go on, we're going to know exactly when to use word classes. And we're going to make sure that we use them not too much, but very well considered and very appropriately. Okay, so we're going to move on now to the homework part of word classes. Now, you don't need to write this down and you don't need to do the homework just yet. I'm going to tell you what the homework is, but don't worry, because at the end of this video, I'm going to remind you. So don't worry about taking a picture or writing anything down. I will remind you. So tier 1, can you write 3 sentences related to autumn, our topic, using at least 4 of the word classes? So you can pick any 4 you like, but every sentence must have a noun and a verb. Okay. That comes naturally. You can't write a sentence without a noun and a verb. Okay, so you don't even have to remember that rule because it won't feel right. It won't feel like a sentence unless you've used a noun and a verb. Tier 2, can you write 3 sentences related to autumn using at least 6 of the word classes? This is a bit trickier. Now, this is the one that I want all year 4s to have a go at. Okay, so there are 7 word classes that we've looked at. You need to use at least 6 of them and write 3 sentences related to autumn using 6 of the word classes. And all year 5s, this is what I'd like you to do. Can you write 3 sentences related to autumn using all of the word classes? But, and this is the tricky bit, can you begin each sentence with a different word class? Okay, when we write, it's very tempting to use nouns or determinants to begin our sentences. Okay, we do it a lot. But what I'd really like you to think about is, can you begin a sentence with an adjective or an adverb or a preposition? Maybe a conjunction. Give that a go. But remember, whilst I'd like all year fives to do tier 3 and all year 4s to do tier 2, if you do need to go to the tier below, that's completely okay. It's completely understandable. Okay, we're not always going to find things easy straight away. So if you're a year 5 and you want to do tier 2, that's okay. But do try tier 3. Challenge yourself. Okay, I know you can do it. And if you do need a bit more help, it's okay. Go to the next, go to the tier lower than that, and I'll help you when I next see you. Okay. And tier 4s, year 4s. If you'd like to give tier 3 a go, please do. Make sure you do. Challenge yourself. If you think you can do it, do it. All right. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the bus stop method. So bus stop method is used for division. When we divide, we use the bus stop method. Okay, there are other ways of dividing, but bus stop method is very, very effective. And when it comes to long division, which we'll be looking at a bit later on, we can only really use the bus stop method. Okay, so that's why we want to learn the bus stop method nice and early. Okay, so how does it work? We have on the screen a division problem, 8,125 divided by 5. And underneath, I've drawn a really basic bus stop. So how do we do this? Okay, well, this number, 8125, the number that's being divided, okay, we're going to put it inside the bus stop. So 8, 1, 2, 5. That's going to go inside the bus stop, the number that's being divided, okay? Now, the number that it's being divided by is going to go on the outside of the bus stop. So do you see what I've done? I've put the big number that's being divided inside the bus stop and the smaller number that is being divided by outside the bus stop. Okay, then what we need to do is we need to ask ourselves, how many times does this number, the number 5, go into each of these numbers, right? So we start off by saying, how many times does 5 go into 8? Okay, well, we do have 5 times tables until we get to 8. So 5, I can't go to 10. 10 is higher than 8, so I've got to stop at 5. So it only goes in once. So it goes in one time. However, we landed on 5 and we want to get to 8, okay? So we have something called a remainder. 6, 7, 8. 3 more we needed to get to 8, so we have a remainder of 3. That remainder is very important. That remainder goes in front of the next number. So this 1 here is now 31. Okay. Next question. How many times does 5 go into the next number, which is 31? Let's have a look. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Let's not go any higher, because if we go higher, we're going to go above 31. So 5 goes into 30 6 times. Sorry, 5 goes into 31 6 times. Okay, but we landed on 30, didn't we? And we wanted to get to 31. So we've got a remainder of 1. So let's put that in front of the next number. Okay, how many times does 5 go into our next number, which is now 12? How many times does 5 go into 12? 5, 10. Can't go any higher. If I go higher, I've gone above 12. So we land on 10. So it goes in twice. Yeah, 2. It goes in twice. But we landed on 10 and we wanted to get to 12. So let's count the remainders. 11, 12. We've got a remainder of 2. That goes in front of the next number. And now how many times does 5 go into 25? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. It goes in 5 times. And we're done. We have our answer, 1,625. This is our answer at the top here, okay? So a tip, guys, when we're working out, when we're doing bus stop methods, make sure you give yourself good space between these numbers at the bottom, because if you don't give yourself good space, you won't leave a lot of room for your remainder. And if you don't have a lot of room for your remainder, all the numbers become squished together and it becomes really tricky to work to see what it is we're doing. Okay, so that's the tip. Make sure it's well presented. Okay, let's do another one. However, this time, if you're feeling up for the challenge, you can pause the video, have a go at doing it yourself, and then I'm going to go through it to see if you're correct. Okay, all right, let's give it a go. So pause the video now if you want to have a go yourself, and press play when you're ready to go through the answer. Okay, so we put our number that's being divided into the bus stop or underneath the bus stop. So we've got 1, 2, 4, 8. And on the outside, we put the number it's being divided by. This is 4. Okay, how many times does 4 go into 1? 4 is bigger than 1. 4 doesn't go into 1. So we don't even start our times tables. We're still at 0, okay? So it goes in 0 times. We wanted to get to 1 and we landed on 0, but we didn't move, okay? So we've got a remainder of 1. That remainder moves over to the next number, and this number is now 12. How many times does 4 go into 12? 4, 8, 12, it goes 3 times. How many times does 4 go into 4? Obviously just the once. How many times does 4 go into 8? 4, 8, it goes twice. We're done. We are done. That's it. If you've got that, if you had a go before you watched this and you got it correct, brilliant. If you didn't get it correct, it's okay. Well done for having a go. Keep practicing and you will get there. I promise you're going to get there if you practice. Okay, our final question is 7326. So the bigger number, which has been divided into the bus stop. And on the outside, we put the number it's been divided by, which is a 3. Okay, once again, if you want to have a go before I tell you the answer, have a go now, pause the video, have a go and press play when you're ready. Okay, how many times does 3 go into 7? 3, 6, it goes twice. But we landed on 6 and we wanted to get to 7. So we've got a remainder of 1. That goes in front of the next number. How many times does 3 go into 13? 3, 6, 9, 12. We have to stop there. Otherwise, we're going to go above 13. It goes in 4 times. We landed on 12. So we wanted to land on 13. We land on 12. So we've got a remainder of 1. That goes in front of the next number. How many times does 3 go into 12? 3, 6, 9, 12. It goes 4 times with no remainder. How many times does 3 go into 6? 3, 6. It goes twice with no remainder. We've got our answer, 2,442. That's it. That's how we do the bus stop. Okay, so bus stop does get a bit trickier when we start to involve decimals, which we'll do later on in the year, and when we do long division, which we'll also do later on. But for now, this is all we need to do. Let's look at the tiers and remember the rules. Year 5s, please have a go at doing tier 3. Year 4s, please have a go at doing tier 2. But if you'd rather do a different tier because you find your tier 2 challenging, that's fine. Year 4s, if you want to give tier 3 a go, please do. Okay. One thing really quickly, have a look at these numbers here, 7, 6, 8, and 9. These are trickier numbers to divide by because they're trickier times tables. Yeah. So if you struggle to divide by those numbers, you need to learn those times tables. Okay. Learning the times tables is very important. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope that this that you've understood this and that nothing's been too challenging, but you must let me know next time I see you if anything was too challenging. Have a go at doing that. I'd love you to bring the homework in and I'd love to see it next week when I next see you. If you can't do it, or if you'd rather just do it at home, or if you forget your homework, please don't stress out. Only do this if you absolutely can, but I'd really like you to give it a go, okay? Thanks very much for watching. Enjoy your weekend. Bye, guys.